look at some of the takes. I saw one tweet about it where Bernie apparently wasn't able to describe the answer to equality versus equity, which is such a right-wing framing for any kind of like, it's such like anti-socialist, it's such anti-socialist right-wing reactionary framing from Bill Maher, which is not surprising. That's why Weeby loves him, because he is a reactionary right-winger.
You were advocating at the Supreme Court, I think it was last week, right? Because, or maybe it was this week, that the Supreme Court is looking at Biden's giveaway to people who own debt.
Giveaway is your term, not my term.
Well, they have college debt. Loan, yeah. Okay, and we're going to give them money.
We're going to forgive debt.
Well, we're arguing about the same thing, but there was no argument. We're giving the money away. Okay, so I just want to read you this. And again, this is against why people sometimes, I think, question some of what you're saying. This is a survey, student loan forgiveness recipients. 73% of applicants say they are likely to spend their extra money on non-essential, including vacations, smartphone, drugs, and alcohol. They admitted that.
Oh my God, he is so right-wing, dude. He is so incredibly right-wing. First of all, smartphone, drugs, and alcohol. Like, why did you put smartphone in there? Smartphone, drugs, and alcohol? The fuck do you mean? Smartphone is like everything.
Drugs and alcohol. Extra money on non-essential, including vacations, smartphone, drugs, and alcohol.
What do you mean, smartphone? Survey of 200 people at ASU? Yeah. I don't actually understand why he added smartphone into this, or I guess like the people surveying the ASU, 200 ASU students added that in there because like it kind of makes no sense. Yeah, no shit. Like people will spend money on their smartphone. Not essential drugs and vacation, insulin and paid leave. No, I mean, who cares? And who cares ultimately? Like what does this fucking take? Like, oh well, if you get debt relief when school should be fucking free in general, when college should be free already, if you get debt relief, if you get a little bit of financial restitution from that, and you want to spend it on whatever the fuck you want to spend it on, like, oh, that's not allowed. Like, fuck you. I hate it. I hate this argument when people are like, people are buying steaks with their EBT card. It's like, fuck you, man. What, if you're poor, you're not supposed to eat steak? Like, what are you talking about? What the fuck are you talking about? Fuck yourself, okay? Especially when it's some dumb bitch like, some dumbass like fucking Bill Maher who like does everything. Like this dude still goes to sex clubs and shit, bro. What? Is it only for you because you hit the lottery and got lucky enough to make it in Hollywood? So only you get to have fun? Like, fuck you. People should be able to have fun. If they want to buy shit, they can buy shit. I hate that. He's reading a study, bud. Nah, they're buying coke. That's the problem. What aboutism? How? I'd spend it on a trip to Italy and plenty of drugs. He's reading a study, bud. Yeah, one, we already undermined the study by talking about how it was only 200 college students from ASU, which is like hyper-specific and doesn't have a good enough sampling size. Number two, that's not technically called a study for the record, okay? That's just a bullshit survey. Number three, okay, I'm already undermining the inherent reactionary take here that, like, people have to spend it on things, okay? Things that people have to spend it on, like essential things, if they get debt relief. When school should already be free. So it doesn't fucking matter, okay? 44% said that they would actually spend the extra money on the smartphone. 43% said investing in the stock market. 42% said gifts, gaming system, wedding, drugs, alcohol, gambling. None of the... By the way, oh my God, this study is so bad. The more I find out about the study, the more I realize, like, it is so fucking stupid. Wedding, non-essential things like a wedding. Non-essential things like, gambling, fine. Drugs and alcohol, fine. That's a classic trope. But the idea that, like, or a gaming system, the idea that, like, investing in a stock market, smartphone, and weddings are considered, like, non-essential is really fucking stupid. Smartphone is absolutely essential. A wedding could be essential in this regard. Anyway, not only that, the study is already like sampled horrifyingly poorly. So that's hilarious. But even then, it doesn't even matter. It does not even matter. Because if people want to spend it on non-essential shit, they should be able to spend it on non-essential shit. 4 out of 10 say that student loans haven't negatively affected their lives. Dude, this study is awesome. All data is from a survey commissioned by Intelligent.com and conducted by, in total, 1,250 Americans on the survey platform Pollfish. It wasn't 200. It's 1,250, which is a decent number. Appropriate, but it's a fucking Pollfish survey. That's insane. The sample size is completely insignificant because it is a Pollfish survey. Are you joking? I could conduct a survey in this chat right now, and so many of you would write the dumbest fucking answers. That does not mean it's an adequate survey. It's a web poll. It is a self-selecting web poll. If you use this to guide any kind of legislation, you are the dumbest person I've ever seen in my entire life. But some of you are so motivated to keep up this unjustifiable system that you will use this idiotic survey. Pollfish has users voting multiple times for vacation like it's a contest entry for a vacation. Yeah. Even if they're in college, they haven't faced the pressures of student loans placed on people. Guys, this is idiotic. Completely fucking idiotic. Not only is the survey idiotic, not only is the survey itself idiotic, but the contents of the survey are stupid as well. Like, these numbers don't make sense. 45% said that they would fucking spend it on food. But we shouldn't have a say in where people spend this kind of money, this additional money. Because half the time, for example, people will go out and buy a car, right? Now, you might think it's non-essential, right? You can make that argument. They're like, oh, what the fuck? They're buying a car. It helps the economy, you fucking idiot. That's why you do debt relief. If you want to talk about it from like the higher level concept, debt relief is good for the economy. It gives people more purchasing power. It feeds back into the economy immediately, especially when a lot of these people are spenders and not holders like wealthier people are. Poor people immediately cycle the money back into the economy, whereas wealthy people will invest it, okay? Will park their assets. So them purchasing stuff is kind of the point of why they do debt relief, especially when you realize that the main reason for why this debt even exists is fraudulent. This debt should not exist because public education should truly be free up to the college level. So yeah, I don't care. I think it's an overall good thing. I don't give a shit what you do, okay? And even if you are going to gamble it, which I would say don't do that, obviously, okay? Obviously, don't fucking gamble your student loan debt relief. It's not up to me, or that's not what I would cut. That is not what I would cut policy off of when you shouldn't have fucking gotten that kind of debt anyway. That college should be free. Anyway.
They admitted that to the pollster.
Who is this pollster?
NBC News.
That's bullshit. That's not NBC News. He's lying.
52% they are likely to buy new clothing. 46% they would use the money for vacation and eat out at restaurants. This is why people have a thing about...
That's called inflation, you moron. If the government gives money to its people and they spend it on commodities, then it's essentially a cash injection into the economy, says Brody, California. Wait, why are you calling me a moron? Wait, why are you so... Why so mean, chatter? I don't understand. Are you calling Bill Maher that? I don't know what's going on. You didn't use the right term. Wait, what? America's learned what inflation was in 2022, and it's embarrassing. Yeah, it's also embarrassing because they think inflation only occurs when there's more money in the economy, or when there's more purchasing power within the economy, and no such deflationary mechanisms exist, like I don't know, taxing or anything else other than raising interest rates. When wealthy people get cash injections, when the stock market gets cash injections, that's fine because wealthy people know what to do with the money. When poor people get cash injections, they have to buy things. So obviously that makes things more expensive. That's the only reason why things get more expensive. There's no other way that things would get more expensive, like if our corporate consolidation has gotten to a point where like companies can basically get away with raising the price of goods because they recognize that people do have the purchasing power and artificially limit the supply, for example. It's not that could never cause inflation to happen. Price gouging, exactly. Especially when the reality is that like oh, what the fuck? My brain pooped a little bit. I apologize. My right shoulder hurts a lot. I don't know why, and that's like I do have jet lag, so give me a break here. I forgot what I was saying. Oh. No, actually, I don't know. I forgot. It's done. Do you smell burnt toast? No. The inflation effect of forgiving loans has mostly been felt already because people haven't had to pay their loans for 3 years already. They're already living that purchasing power largely. Sure, certainly.
I would never call it free money. Oh, I guess I just did. But
Well, let me respond to that in two ways, Bill.
I know it's been a few hours since you talked about Japan, but don't you think that the fact that their society works so well despite capitalism means their collectivist mindset towards society is more what people should strive for rather than a certain economic system like socialism? I might be wrong. I don't know. I mean, collectivist mindset is creating outcomes that would be similar to socialism, but no, I think that Japan still has many economic problems. So that's precisely the point. Instead of trying to instill collectivist attitudes through xenophobia and nationalism, you should instill collectivist attitudes from virtue of your relations to the means of production, for example, and what role you play in society. That's the main difference, especially when you do that, you will have a more even distribution of resources for everyone, and you will also eliminate the other problems like high rates of suicide, for example, and being overworked and feeling alienated and isolated. Because if you go to Japan, one thing you will recognize is that like the hyper-capitalist dystopia of Japan, while beautiful and functioning to a certain degree, also kind of hides the very sad reality that the desperate salaryman literally can go to a bar on a night out and basically artificially create human social interaction in the brief moments that he has alone, because he doesn't have any time for friendship. He doesn't have any time for himself. He has no time to recollect his thoughts. So he just goes to a bar and drinks his sorrows away. Now, drinking is a social function. It's a social activity, but because he doesn't have any time for friends, he has to create an artificial social scenario, which is why host clubs are so popular in Japan, which is why you have snack bars like the ones we went to in fucking Kobe. That's what happens when you have no time for yourself and you have no time for... What? Sorrows? What sorrows? What did I say? You just live an increasingly isolated, alienated life where... sorrows. Sorry. Yeah. Where even like something that's otherwise considered like a social function, a social activity, can be relegated or can be turned into like an individual thing, like a sad and more isolated experience. Does your brain ever fart from speaking English and thinking in Turkish? No, I think in English when I'm in America. Man is worth $100 million and bitching about poor people being able to buy new clothes or a plane ticket. Yeah, I hate that shit. It's so condescending. It's so fucking annoying. Bill Maher is worth so much without any sort of like discernible skill. And all he does is fucking complain about poor people who haven't even gotten a jump start on society and been fucked over by the boomers regardless before they even began to operate in the workforce. And he thinks it's fucked up that they get to have 10K of their debt eradicated when that debt shouldn't even exist to begin with. People need to stop romanticizing Japan. Lots of suffering going on there. Yes, there are. But it's hard not to acknowledge that, like, Japan should be as desolate and as destroyed as the United States of America is. But for some reason, it still works.
Talk about giveaways. Under Trump, the Congress voted for $1 trillion in tax breaks for the richest people in this country and the largest corporations. That's a giveaway. We just increased military spending with very little discussion. I don't know if you know this, by $80 billion.
Great
military
take.
Industrial complex.
Including the Democrats.
Pardon me?
The Democrats vote for it too.
Yes, absolutely correct. Absolutely right. All right.
But that's socialism, the military. That's crony socialism.
Well, that's
right.
Crony capitalism.
But the military isn't capitalism. That's the government.
No, but it's who owns the military industrial complexes. All right, but anyhow.
Right.
All right. So when you talk about...
Yeah, exactly. No, it's 100% correct. Exactly. The military is, in a way, no different than, people talking about how, like, in China, you have people dying in Foxconn facilities, which, like, things have gotten significantly better in China. Okay? But it's literally that. You got American men and women, young fucking 17-year-old dickheads, getting enlisted to go and, like, kill people overseas and get fucked up, specifically so Raytheon's profit margins look better. That's like at least China threw its labor force at the problem and then collectivized the gains so that, like, they could uplift themselves and eradicate extreme levels of poverty in less than a couple decades. In America, we throw bodies at the problem so that Raytheon executives can make a tidy profit. There you go.
giveaways you have, maybe...
Yeah, Iraq was so socialist, right? Yeah, I mean, exactly. Obviously, it's not. My point is right-wing Americans or pro-capitalist Americans love shitting on China and saying, like, oh, well, China abused its own labor force in order to, uplift China. And I'm like, bro, we abuse our own labor force in the same way, and we're not making, like, valuable things. We no longer have a robust manufacturing industry. We no longer are making things that are of value. We don't have manufacturing here. All of our output is about destruction, and that destruction is at the behest of the military-industrial complex, and the profits of that destruction are not even socialized. The gains are not socialized. Only the losses are. So, yeah, if you want to think about it like, oh, China abused its own labor force and, like, fucking, enslaved its own labor force or whatever the fuck, yeah, but at least they fucking took the benefits of that and socialized it and uplifted the entire country. So did America? No, the fuck it didn't. And no, it's not. You are wrong about that. Oh, you're saying America did that too. As far as America is throwing human bodies at the problem too. Yeah. Did you just defend China law? My friend, you might be new here, but, China has defensible qualities, and I defend it regularly. I am a fair and honest man. Just because a country is the enemy of this state does not change my assessment on certain values and principles I believe in. Anyway, but of course, socialism is not when the government does things, and the more the government does things, the more socialist it is. That's a silly notion. It's incorrect. It's false. And I don't believe that. But of course, Bill Maher is going to take advantage of the fact that most people are unfamiliar with this process. Anyway.
Major corporations in this country that make billions in profit don't pay a nickel in taxes. Billionaires have an effective tax rate lower than that of a truck driver or a nurse. You have a generation, you talk about this younger generation right now. I got around the country and I talked to a lot of people. I don't know anything about that poll, but I can tell you, I've talked to nurses who are working their asses off, doing the right thing. They leave school $70,000 in that. They can't afford now to get married and have children. They can't afford the housing that they desperately need. So the truth is, you got a generation that, everything being equal, the younger generation will have a lower standard of living than their parents. You and I, and I'm a little older than you, can remember 50 years ago, what did it cost to go to the University of California? Remember?
$50,
Yeah.
500.
Virtually free. City University.
He's wearing him down. God, Bernard, do it. Do it to him, Bernard. He's wearing him down. Slowly but surely. He's doing a decent job at it.
New York,
Right.
virtually free. And right now, these young people are leaving school deeply in debt. They're struggling economically. They deserve a break.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Oh, yeah, I couldn't agree more. Why didn't you agree with it
But
before
in
then,
the
you
book,
fucking
you say
asshole?
You feel like the Democratic Party, you take your shots at them, and you caucus with them, and you run at.
Dude, one of the things that makes me a relatively popular figure in these spaces is quite literally the reality that I shit on the Democratic Party. I shit on the Democratic Party when they do things that are worthy of being shitted on. And people love that, okay? Because people love to hate the Democratic Party for sometimes good reason and oftentimes for bad reasons too. But there is nothing better than doing that, because Dems do suck and they need to know that.
As one, but you're not completely part of them.
Right.
You say they feel like they're abandoned their cause to the beautiful people. Who are the beautiful people? I'm guessing it's not
Bill.
us.
You're looking really beautiful tonight here in L.A.
Me? Thank you, Bernie.
Here's the point. The point that I was making is, when FDR was president, when Truman was president, even when JFK was president, you go out on the street and you say to people, which party represents the working class of America? Most people, I think, would have said the Democratic Party.
Correct.
All right. Today, you go out on the street, and that is not the sentiment. In fact, the Republican Party probably has more adherents than the Democrats.
How did that happen?
I'll tell you how it happened. It happened because 30 years ago, the Democrats said, hey, Republicans are getting all this corporate money. We want it too. Let's go out and get it. And let's forget about the people who are working 50 or 60 hours a week. So you're sitting out there somewhere in the Midwest. You can't afford health care. Maybe your job went to China and you're earning half of what you used to make. Your kid can't afford to go to college. And you're looking at people on television doing all of their stuff, and you are saying, who the hell gives a damn about me? All right? Who cares what my life is about? Who's addressing the crises facing my life, the pain that I'm experiencing? We have something, I don't know if you're familiar with the expression, it's called diseases of despair.
Of course.
All right. And what the doctors tell us, we have a life expectancy above and beyond COVID, which is in decline. It's in decline because people feel hopeless. Their jobs are taking them nowhere, worried about their kids, and they're turning to alcohol, drugs, and even suicide. All right? We've got to restore hope to the American people. Working class are the majority of people in this country. They are hurting. After 50 years of exploding technology, they're earning less than they did before. All right?
You sound like you're running again. No? Third
No,
time?
I'm just talking about the book here.
Third time the charm? People usually write a book when they're about to run.
No.
I mean, I don't give a fuck. He runs again. I fucking vote for him again. I vote for him as many times as he wants to run, you know? Oh, overtime.